How do you hear it? Can anything good come out of Nazareth? In the Gospel of John, we need to know a little bit more about the nonverbals, about the tone of Nathanael's comment. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? In the last 2 weeks, Jesus has gone from that sweet baby innocent boy that we celebrated and greeted at Christmas to now being a full-grown man stepping into his calling. Last week, we experienced the baptism of Jesus, where he receives his true identity. He's a beloved Son of God who's been named and claimed. And through our baptism, we receive our true identity as well. Jesus is a wise one, for he knows he cannot do his ministry of ushering in God's dream of peace, God's dream of justice, that there would actually be enough for you and me and for all. God's dream for love. Jesus knows that he cannot do this on his own, that he needs a tribe, a team. Together, everyone accomplishes more. He needs a circle of close friends. He needs a community that will walk with him daily. So he goes out to look for such folks. And he encounters Philip, and he says, "Follow me." And of course, Philip follows him. Don't you need a little bit of a backstory there? How much time did Philip actually need before Philip says, "Yeah, sure, I'll drop everything and follow you"? But Jesus says, "Follow me." And he has some kind of encounter and experience with Jesus that he is so excited that he wants to invite his friend Nathanael into such a relationship with this Jesus as well, that we have found him. This is the one that Moses and the prophets have been talking about. And by the way, he's from this town, Nazareth. And we get to hear it one more time. Nathanael responds, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Now, how do you hear this? You're learning a lot about me this morning about how I hear this, right? I'm hoping that Nathanael had a little bit of curious inquiry. My beliefs tell me that that's one of those backwaters, backwards places, like I said earlier, a little bit of a cesshole of a place. Because it's a small, secluded village. And yet maybe he said, I might need to push up against the beliefs that I hold about this place. Or was he snarky and sarcastic? More of a, "Yeah, right, there's nothing good that can come out of that dinky town. It's backwoods." Or possibly there was even a deeper dig, yes, with a bit more bite. Can anything good come out of that Nazareth? Dig on those other people. Because once we other someone, then we can dehumanize them and discard them and their bodies, and then they can be dismissed. And then we don't have to send any dollars to where they live or care about their life circumstances because we've dehumanized and we've dismissed. But maybe Nathanael, can we give him a little bit of grace? Because if we're honest, we might encounter a bit of Philip and Nathanael in ourselves this morning. Nathanael might have been feeling a little bit uncomfortable. So he uses that coping mechanism. He deflected. Unless you think I'm psychologizing Scripture, stay with me a little bit longer. Because sometimes when a new truth comes at us, we deflect it because we're not quite sure that we're ready for that type of change. We're not quite ready that we're ready for the truth to come that close to us, a new possibility, even if it's liberation, even if it's the actual Messiah or the liberator or the anointed one who wants to come and heal our very wounds. And those sarcastic places are those really disillusioned places, this God who wants to come and heal and meet those and bring us something new. Nathanael needed to hold a little bit longer onto this misguided, non-life-giving belief that nothing good can come from such a place. And if it wasn't for a gracious invitation response by Philip, Nathanael would have missed an encounter with the divine. This morning, I hope we're willing to take stock of Philip's brilliant and savvy communication skills. He could have been hooked, right? Does this ever happen in your conversation? Someone starts with that dig and we jump right in. I know, right? You know those other kind of people that are from Syria or North Korea or Haiti or Africa. Those are those other people, and we dig right in there too, thinking that somehow this will connect us as we other somebody else. But Philip chooses a different way. He chooses to breathe new life into this exchange that could have gone down this same old, tired, worn-out way of dehumanizing, dismissing, pushing people away, and othering. Philip, in this brilliant way, chooses this different route. And it was so simple. All Philip says is, come. Come and belong. Come and be in a relationship. Come be a part of something bigger than yourself. And then he does the beautiful and, because we're all about the both and, not the either or. He does a simple and. He says, come and see. Now we know that Philip was probably really smart, and on his iPad in his back pocket that he was carrying with him, he had a 3-point sermon about this person, Jesus, that would have just laid it out intellectually, who this Jesus is and why it's really important for Nathanael to come and follow him. And he probably had a PowerPoint presentation with colors and videos too, that he could have just totally engaged, right? But instead, Philip kept it really simple, and he said, come and see. Come and experience it for yourself. Don't just believe me. Come and see what is actually possible here together. Come and see where this God is trying to show up, Nathanael. Even though you think nothing good can come out of Nazareth, he could have told him how wrong he was and how ridiculous his argument was, but instead he said, come and see. Come and see where God is choosing to show up in this moment. It could have been a choice, though, right, for Nathanael to block God and where God was trying to show up. Dr. King knew a lot about that. Yes, Reverend Dr. King, Martin Luther King weekend that we celebrate today. Dr. King knew a lot about folks deciding to discard and dehumanize and say, oh, nothing good can come out of Alabama, can it? Nothing good can come out of these places where there's these brown and black bodies, can it? Dr. King knew as he spoke about his dream, that I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Dr. King and Nathanael and Philip and Jesus point us to what's still rampant in our society, tragically. It's a spiritual crisis. It's a spiritual crisis that values certain bodies over other bodies. We still see it today. Black and brown and women's bodies not being valued or trusted or protected. And in that, we're missing God's given creative dignity and worth to each of us. We are created in this beautiful image of our God who names and claims us through our baptism. Beautiful, inherent dignity and worth, and God will use us to change the world for the better. We need to continue being, my beloved congregation, those people who are willing to move beyond our beliefs and assumptions about where God can show up. We need to continue being those people who open our eyes and our hearts and our minds to those holy, unexpected places and people that cross our paths every day. And we need to be those people who are willing to say to one another, I know you're afraid. I know you're in pain. I know you're grieving. So let's go together and come and see what this Jesus has in store for us so that we can encounter liberation for our brokenness, healing for our wounds, and love that sustains and nourishes. And so it is. Amen.